Oklahoma newsroom, this is an OU update. I'm Jenny Carlson. OU linebacker Frank Shannon, suspended last year by the university, has returned to practice, and Tuesday, for the first time since his suspension, he spoke to the media. Our beat writer Jason Kersey was there. Jason, can you just set the scene for us a little bit? What exactly happened on Tuesday when we heard from Shannon for the first time?
Yeah, I put in with my list of requests for the day. It's defensive day. I just threw Shannon on there, not just sort of on the off chance that maybe he'd talk. I really didn't think they would make him available, but when I got there, he was walking over, and he stood there and talked to reporters for about 10 minutes. We were sort of told that he was only going to answer football questions, but they ended up he ended up actually fielding a lot of other questions about his year off, about his suspension, things like that. That didn't get taken too far. At one point, I was cut off when I was trying to ask him if he had any bitter feelings about OU, considering all that went down, and especially considering he's maintained his innocence. That was the only time that they cut me off, or cut any of us off. So it was interesting, and I really was actually pretty impressed with how Frank handled himself, considering the circumstances.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, Jason, because the suspension came after a Title IX sexual assault investigation. University decided to suspend him for the entire year, so he was off the football team, obviously. How would you characterize what you saw, what you heard from Frank Shannon?
He made it pretty clear with a few different answers that he still is maintaining that he's innocent, that he didn't do what he was alleged to have done. But the word I would use to, to describe him would be professional. I thought he was very professional about the way that he answered the questions. He didn't really shy away from any questions. He was in a pretty good mood. He laughed a few times. It was not really what I expected, considering the people talking to him, myself included, have written a lot of things about him over the last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't like, or if he'd seen and was upset by. So the fact that he handled himself so well in front of us, I thought was pretty impressive. That's not speaking to the allegations or anything like that. Just in terms of the way he handled himself today, I don't know that he could have done a much better job.
Jason, lastly, even though Frank Shannon talked today, this is obviously a storyline that continues. Do you expect that this will lay aside some of these questions, or is Frank Shannon going to have to continue to face some of these questions, maybe if national media come in, or if there's a big game, or he has a big game? Do you foresee these questions continuing to bubble around Frank Shannon as the season goes on?
I don't think that they will ever totally go away for him, at least not for a while. He's going to have to keep his nose clean for a while, but I think before they'll totally go away. And I think this year they'll come up still from time to time. But I also think that by doing this today, he took a lot of that out. I mean, I think that the next time he comes in, it wouldn't surprise me at all if none of the suspension was really even brought up. I think that that's the value in getting in front of the media, answering some questions about it. You'll never totally get rid of it, but you can at least make it a little bit less. You can make your press conferences a little bit less about that one thing that everybody wants to talk about, when you just come and do it once. And so, yeah, it may still come up, but I would imagine the next time he talks, it'll be a lot more about football and a lot less about the suspension. And I think that's probably why they probably ought to get Joe Mixon in front of the media pretty soon.
Yeah, that's definitely the next shoe to fall, and we obviously know if that happens, you, Ryan Aber, our other OU beat writer, will be there to cover it. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.